my name is Colleen Gerardo, and I'm a professor for the English department here at the College of Southern Nevada. I also serve as the faculty liaison for the Reading Center and as lead faculty for the reading courses here at CSN. My office is here on the Charleston campus, so please feel free to visit anytime or send students my way so I can help them create an individual plan for improving reading or to help them choose appropriate reading courses. I have teamed up with the Centers for Academic Success and Dr. Keller and Professor Rohde, and together we have created the Reading Centers. And for the reading assistants, I have created 6 distinct lessons that you can use to help any CSN student who comes in to help them improve the way they learn, think, study, and read. These 6 active reading strategy lessons are printed as assignments and are being shared with the CSN faculty to help students across the curriculum. Students may come in without a printed lesson for general help with reading difficult texts or for studying for an exam. In such a case, please feel confident because you have 6 excellent lessons to choose from, and I am confident that you will know exactly what to do. I'd like to thank you in advance for becoming part of this movement towards helping CSN students achieve their dream, and I look forward to working with you.
This training video is designed to help both new and veteran reading and writing assistants effectively tutor students taking Read 95, Read 99, and Read 130, which are recommended courses for students who struggle with critical reading or reading comprehension. Most reading professors will have specific assignments called lessons that correlate to the 4 active reading strategies: annotation, vocabulary, note-taking and study skills, and using research. Ideally, the student will bring instructions for these assignments, as reading and writing assistants typically stamp the student's work as proof of visit. The student is also responsible for reflecting on the session in writing as part of the assignment.
So nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too.
So what are we working on today?
Today they gave me annotation.
Okay, Reading 95, Okay, CSN Reading Centers, print. Use the annotation list, you'll need a textbook from any class, even mind. Okay, do you have any questions about your assignment before we begin?
To be honest, I don't even know what annotation means, so.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's kind of unpack the word annotation and see if we can find a word that you recognize. Maybe it's spelled a little different?
No, not. I mean, I see not.
Anything else spelled a little differently, maybe?
Maybe if I, note?
Note? Yeah, precisely, absolutely. Yeah, so annotation is when we're taking notes, but instead of using a notebook, we're actually using our textbook as a notebook.
Okay.
So what we do is we open up our textbook, we get out our pencil, we get out our highlighter, and we take notes on the textbook. Mm-hmm. So we start by kind of identifying our main idea. We can label our supporting details. We use our highlighter anytime we want to specially mark something. So what we'll do for today's lesson is I'm going to start by demonstrating what annotating looks like using our materials, and then we'll switch over and we'll have you try.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay. So we'll start at the beginning of your chapter. As you can see, it's kind of formatted so you have these little headings.
Be sure to use your handbook, this module's PowerPoint, and the professor's instructions to be sure the student is learning how to annotate according to the professor's standards.
Mm-hmm. So now that we've done this page together, I'm going to transition and have you work on it a little bit yourself. And I'm here to just kind of watch you.
Okay. All right, let's take a look. Okay, this looks like my thesis statement.
Good.
So
Yeah, definitely main idea there.
Underline it like you did.
Good.
And then supporting detail.
Good.
Okay, 1, 2. Okay, right here.
Yeah, usually 2 to 3, so that's really good.
Okay. Let's read. Let me see a little bit more. Okay. This one. this looks really important. Let me go ahead and highlight that. Okay.
And I'd also put a little note there so you know why you made it
note?
yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the session, go over the major components of annotation and remind the student of its significance.
Good.
All right. Well, I think I get the idea. So thank you so much for all your help. You know, now instead of having to review like a 40-page chapter, I can just kind of look at all the notes and everything else that we've marked. Looks like it'll make it a lot easier.
Awesome.
You may also be tasked with facilitating a 20 to 30 minute session on learning vocabulary. The purpose of this lesson is to show students how to discover the meanings of unknown vocabulary. Just like with the annotation lesson, you will use a mix of guided practice and independent practice. Start by choosing 1 to 2 vocabulary words from the textbook or reading, which is usually bold or italicized words. Also, choose one additional unfamiliar word, ideally a word that is not emphasized but is still new to the student. Then, discover the meaning of the words with the student using the following methods.
It's really bothering me.
Okay, yeah, I definitely understand that. So let's begin by looking at the vocabulary word in context. So, in other words, we're going to read the sentence and try to take a guess at what the word might mean. Okay? So we'll start by having you read that sentence if you don't mind.
Okay. When the gongs of the electric cars ceased for a moment to harry the ears, there could be heard the sound of the feet of the leisurely crowd on the blue stone pavement, and it was like the peaceful evening lashing at the shore of a lake.
Okay, so now that we've read that long, kind of complicated sentence,
Right.
Let's go ahead and zoom in on that word leisurely. And can you take a guess at what that word might mean?
Well, it says, there could be heard the sounds of the feet of the leisurely crowd on the blue stone pavement.
Okay, so something about the crowd's pace.
Right, so leisurely, like I wouldn't consider leisurely like fast paced, so I'd probably say like, you know, regular, maybe slow pace, like nonchalantly walking, you
Okay.
know, maybe, yeah,
Good.
like,
Good?
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Works for me, man.
Well, I mean, in that case it helps, but like I was looking up a word yesterday.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can find it.
Sure.
And basically, when I was looking it up, they kind of defined it by reusing the word,
Okay.
and it didn't really help.
All right.
So let me see here. It's like, here it is. Reinforce. The act of reinforcing. Like, yeah, that.
Okay.
This technique is especially helpful when the word is not emphasized, such as bold or italicized, but it is still new to the student. It's not just the textbook terms we must understand. Any word we don't know is a vocab word, so we must learn it. Also, use the textbook's glossary and index as well as any footnotes.
I mean, like,
Okay.
really, they really put that in there?
Okay.
You gotta be kidding me.
Right. The act, yeah. That's definitely not helpful, right? So sometimes
No.
the textbooks and even dictionaries might have unclear or unhelpful definitions. But we can't give up, right? We have other resources. And one of those is the smartphone. You have a smartphone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Well, why don't you go ahead and unlock your smartphone and find the website thesaurus.com.
Okay.
And as soon as you get there, you can just type in the vocab word reinforce.
Okay. Reinforce. Enter. So some other synonyms for reinforce are like augment. Augment doesn't really help me.
Okay.
But supplement, swell, increase,
Okay, we're
add
getting
to.
somewhere.
I think I get it now. When the book says reinforce the importance, it basically means to increase it or just show us what really matters, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Finish your session by asking the student a series of questions. What resources were most and least helpful? Do you have any other questions? Are there other websites you'd like to use?
Well, thank you for showing me thesaurus.com. I really I never really thought to look it up and use my resources, but now I know it works.
next lesson is Note-Taking and Study Skills. In these 20 to 30 minute reading assistance sessions, students will bring in their textbooks or reading assignments and need help understanding. These can be reading textbooks or textbooks from other courses. As you focus on main idea and important supporting details, also demonstrate a note-taking strategy that students can apply in other classes with intensive reading. Begin by reading the textbook chapter aloud. For most students, use a simple outline summary style.
I really can't deal with them.
Okay, well sometimes that happens, but I think I can help you with this outline.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and begin with you writing down the heading of this chapter.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and just look at this first section here. And what would you say is the main idea of this section?
Well, the heading is bipedalism. The main point of the introduction is just basically defining it.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So then how is that main idea supported? What are the supporting details that make that main idea work?
Let me see. After they give the definition, they just kind of give a few examples of what bipedalism means.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they define it and then they give examples. So they tell us what it is and then they show us. So I think you're absolutely right.
After you demonstrate the summary outlining method and watch the student practice independently, close the session by reviewing what was discovered and discuss how the student might use note-taking to study for tests. Then, explain that different subjects require different note-taking techniques.
So for an anthropology class like this one, a summary outline style is going to work wonderfully. But let's say you're in a literature class. You might want to take your notes a little bit differently. You might decide to do some character analysis or some kind of plotting, or maybe a web, that kind of thing. If you're in a history class, you might want to do what we call a timeline. If you're in math or physical sciences, yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
If you're in those classes, maybe you'll draw your notes. So write down some diagrams, charts, that kind of thing. And one thing I'll also suggest is almost all lecture notes are going to benefit from what we call the Cornell method.
See, I'm in biology right now, and my professor actually brought up the Cornell method. I don't recall what it is, although I have heard it in the past. Would you mind just refreshing that for me, please?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and start by looking at Google Images.
Okay.
So that's the Cornell method there. That's what that would look like. You know, one side we have our keywords, cues. The other side we have our explanations, our expansions. But the bottom, that's my favorite part, the best part. It's where we take the professor's language, summarize it, and put it in our own words to prepare for the test.
My favorite.
This brings us to the last active reading strategy lesson, research. The purpose of this lesson is to teach the student to use the internet as a means to solidify and broaden understanding. Explain to the student that sometimes concepts are unclear, even when we read the text multiple times. We may have unanswered questions or have trouble understanding details. Just like with vocabulary, we can use the internet to seek out answers.
So, do you have any questions about your assignment right now?
You know, my professor was lecturing about inferences.
Okay.
They defined it in class, but I'm still having a hard time understanding.
That makes sense. Inferences can be a challenging concept. Do you have your laptop with you, or maybe your smartphone?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and look up inferences there.
Okay.
And see what we can find.
All right.
So inference, a noun. So a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Maybe still a little fuzzy, so we can keep going.
Right, yeah.
So we could look at the word as it appears in the sentence, so we can use our context clues, or we could look at synonyms, or maybe both. So
Let's do the synonyms.
Okay.
Reasoning, extrapolation, how do you say that?
Extrapolation.
Extrapolation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Extrapolation, assumption, guess, speculation.
Yeah, good. I don't know if that helps a little bit.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
let's take one of those synonyms now and plug it into one of the sentences. Right? So we could even say his emphasis on order and health, and by conclusion, cleanliness, or by supposition, cleanliness. We could just replace it.
Use these online resources to help the student understand the concept of inferences. You can always also consult the textbook publisher's website, if relevant, as well as any suggested reading material given by the author, social media pages, or even CSN library databases.
So now that we've answered your questions about inferences, do you have any other questions about this assignment?
No, I'm good. You helped explain it very well.
Well, thank you, but it wasn't just me, right? It was your phone and it was your Googling. Are there any other websites you'd like to look at? Okay, great. Townsend Press results lesson. Print out this assignment. You've done that. Take it with you to the reading center. You're here. Okay.
Students enrolled in reading classes will have already taken the test with their professor's guidance. In order to proceed with the lesson, the student must arrive at the session with a hard copy of their score report. Please refer to the series of books, 10 Steps to College Reading Skills, for this lesson. These books are kept in the Reading and Writing Center.
Okay. Oh, I see your score report is here for the Townsend Press. So
Yep.
I wouldn't be discouraged. Most of your skills are pretty high. You're scoring within the 90th percentile, 100%,
Yeah.
80%, right? So your weakest skill is going to be main idea, as we can see here, but that's okay, right? I'm pretty detail oriented myself, so sometimes I gloss over the main idea. I think it's pretty common, so I wouldn't worry so much.
Okay.
So what we're going to do essentially, as your assignment says here, is these are the textbooks that we have in front of us here. We're going to use these textbooks and just go through the exercises in order to help you understand main idea a little better, so you can score a little bit better. But the last thing I need to know before we get started is your AccuPlacer placement score. Do you happen to remember what that was?
Yeah. I got a 72.
72?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 72, based on that score, is going to put you right in the middle. So we have building, which is kind of the basic level, advancing is the highest level, and then improving is in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and select that book.
Okay.
And main idea is pretty early in the book. So you can see there's kind of a mixture of pictures and activities here. So we're just going to read together and go through the activities, okay?
Okay.
Read the chapter aloud with the student, starting at the beginning. Work through some practice activities with the student, and then let the student try a few examples independently. Then, go over the student's results. Be sure to only work on the lowest skill. Do not discuss more than one skill in a session. After going over the student's improvements and answering any questions they may have, please encourage the student to return for more help, perhaps to improve on their second lowest score. Even though they have fulfilled the assignment requirements by visiting the center, they can continue to strengthen their skills each time they come in. Students enrolled in reading courses online might need assistance navigating Canvas for assignments. They will have a lesson that invites them to the Reading and Writing Center for a Canvas crash course.
Okay, so this is Canvas, if you're not really familiar with it. This is an online course, so everything that you need is going to be on Canvas more than likely, unless your teacher has any other websites that she's using. So you can navigate through your Canvas shell really easily by using these functions or these tabs. So go ahead and click on the announcements one.
Click on it?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, this is where she starts putting all the assignments, right? If you come over here to modules too.
Modules,
So
okay.
anytime she wants to announce something, she'll put it up on announcements. Modules is going to be where most of the content is, right? So you see she's got how to do the assignments. This is for week 1. So it looks like she's splitting it up week by
Wow,
week.
looks like she really does her job well.
Yeah, so she's organized it for you guys
Right.
ahead of time, so you should be able to use this. Go ahead and scroll back up to the beginning here. If you need somebody to look at your writing and you can't come to the writing center, you can always use Smart Thinking Tutoring.
Okay.
Um,
Let me see. What's that look like?